Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. We are off the grid. We just got to the ramp. I gotta load the boat up. As you can see, we are in the middle of nowhere. Had a tough time turning around. Just got here, haven't even looked at the lake. Just a crummy little gravel ramp, and not sure what to expect. Just a lake I found on the map. We're gonna try to break it down for you. It's middle of October, still unseasonably warm. Water looks pretty clear, probably 3-4 feet of visibility. And I don't know. I know nothing about this lake. So we're gonna take the tin boat out, try to catch a few bass. Hopefully. See if there's a few bass in here. I don't know why there wouldn't be. Looks definitely more like largemouth in the area. This tree is got some limbs coming down out of it. Not gonna park under that. And see what we can catch. All right, so we are on this new lake and we've got some obstacles. One being the lake has zero mapping. So I was trying to find a new lake to come to today. We've got a lot of little pothole lakes, you know, that are not big lakes, but they're within a couple-hour drive of the house. It's Wisconsin, there's lakes all over the place. And this is one I've never heard anything about. I know nothing about because the Navionics app has zero depths on it. It just shows there being a blue puddle. So that didn't help us. And then at the same time, I have no electronics with me today. So I have no idea how deep the lake's gonna be. I have no idea how deep we're gonna be fishing. I literally know zero about this place. I was able to find a boat ramp on Google Earth and that got us here. Now we got to find the fish. So there's a bunch of different ways to approach this. We could grab a moving bait, cover a bunch of water. We could grab a dragging bait, drag, you know, try to determine depth and bottom composition. I personally, in this situation, feel like a jig is going to be a good search bait for me. And the reason for that is I can fish it relatively fast because I'm going to be using this more in a casting method. I'm going to be casting it and hopping it off the bottom. Water temp is going to be probably, I'm going to say low, upper 50s. So it's not really true, you know, late fall conditions. It's not winter conditions. The fish should still be relatively active. And I'm going to use this almost more as a search bait. So I'm going to fish it fast. I'm going to make a lot of casts, hop it a few times, stroke it a few times. But I'm really going to use it also as a depth finder. So I'm going to be counting how my bait is falling to determine how deep it is. And see if we can't find some, you know, contour lines, potentially also find some rock mixed in. Because that's ideally what I would love to find is some hard bottom areas with a little bit of depth to it. You know, a little bit of steep contour lines, because that should be where the fish are starting to set up. But let's see if we can break the lake down. Okay, well, I just skinny, not a big one, skinny long bass. So I just came across this bay. The whole bay is about 3 foot of water. 4.5 was the deepest I saw. So I was like, why don't I go hit the bank? There's a little cluster of pads here. You can see we're only in, well, I'll tell you, what are we in? about 3 foot of water. So it's relatively clear because you can see the bottom really well. And we just had our first bite. You know, I was basically just fan casting across that flat to see if I could find some weeds or anything, and there was nothing. I mean, there's a little bit of this like bottom grass, but it's not weed you would really fish. It just is like a bottom covering grass. As you can see here, it's this stuff, right? And it's not good. And we came and we fished, I don't know, 30 feet of pads just thrown to the edge of them with the jig, and we just caught one. So maybe we'll beat the bank a little bit and see if this works. Might pull a frog out, who knows. I just feel like there's gonna be a wad of them. The one thing I did notice was there was a decent amount of rock around the bank. Like out, you know, scattered even in this bottom grass, you see a random basketball sized rock out on that flat. I feel like that's what I'm looking for. But one bite, we'll give this a few more minutes. Well, they're obviously using the pads. I just picked up the Swamp Lord, first cast with that, and we get one. So let's run with this for a minute. He's a little better. I feel like I found a little bit. God, they are not thick fish here. That fish is probably 16 inches. So you can see I'm sitting out in the middle here, and I feel like I found, well, I know I found there's a little bit of a lip where, like, you can basically see the grass on this side, and I mean, you go a boat length and you can see it out here, and there's probably a, I don't know, I'm gonna say a 6-7 foot ledge. I just found it. Everything else I found is like, I mean, I haven't found anything with any depth to it, anything more than 4.5 foot. I mean, that was like my third cast. And I can use the jig to kind of keep that depth. You know, we caught one on the frog, but there's only a couple little stretches of pads, and we fished. I mean, we had 2 other little bites, not anything good. And so then we pulled back out, and we're seeing if we can find a little depth to this place. And definitely seems like, oh, there was another one. There's another one. Almost the same spot. I mean, both definitely better quality than what was up in those pads. I wish they were thick. I mean, that's another 16 incher on the hog snatcher, like the same spot. Ooh. Those fish just don't weigh anything. I like finding lakes with big fat bellies. So what I'm doing as well is I'm trying to keep an idea as to where my casts are and where the boat is. So there's a house and a dock, and then over here this is kind of a point, and there's a log up here on the point, and I'm trying to do it a little old schoolish and just kind of triangulate. You know, we don't have much wind, and I can use spot lock, but I'm not necessarily using it for where the boat is. I'm using it as to where I'm casting. I'm trying to cover through the area and just kind of fan cast it. And I definitely know it's deeper. When I say deeper, it's like 6 foot. It's not 3.5 or 4, which is what all this is. And I have not seen any good weed growth yet. It's all just what I call carpet grass. It's just like stringy grass that just grows like a foot off the bottom. And it's not fish holding grass. It's actually more of a nuisance than anything because you get it on your baits. But we're just gonna pick our way around here. I feel like the better quality fish are gonna be out here because there's just nothing to hold them up shallow. So let's see if we can catch a couple more out here. Yeah, I mean, they're nice fish. They're just so skinny. Man, there's definitely a shallow flat here. And then as soon as I get, I mean, I can physically see the drop off. As soon as I get to like right here, that's where we've gotten all of our bites, has been this little depression. When I say depression, it's like, I'm gonna say it's 6 feet compared to 4 feet and less. And I'm making a prediction. Ooh, is that one? No. I'm making a prediction that they, and I don't know how I'd ever find this out, but I feel like they've sprayed this lake. And the reason I say that is there is not a stitch of grass other than this little bank grass stuff. Not bank grass, but like little, I mean, it almost looks like lawn grass on the bottom, and the fish are just really skinny. I feel like there's not much cover for them to be in, and that's why they're just sitting in this depression. Just my thought in terms of what I'm seeing. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some big ones in here, but I feel like they're going to be those ones with the giant head and then just like weigh nothing. Not what I was hoping to see. It's honestly, the lake is completely different than what I was expecting. I really thought, based on some of the other little lakes that are in this area, that there'd be a lot of depth, and there'd be a lot of grass. And you know, there's just nothing. There is no grass at all, and it is, from what I've seen, flat as flat can be, which is just not what I was expecting. But I mean, we're catching some fish, that's for sure. So we're gonna keep looking, keep dissecting the area. I feel like the jig is working really good. This is a Picasso hog snatcher. It's the 1/2 ounce size, and it's just got a Berkeley meaty chunk on the back. Just a classic fall bait, black and blue color. You know, the water is clear. You can see 4 feet down, but it definitely has like a little tannicky stain to it, which, seeing that there's some bogs scattered around the bank, does not surprise me, because that's where a lot of your tannic colored stain comes from. But the rest of the lake has surprised me. I mean, they're all like 16 inches long, and they weigh like 1.5 pounds. But they're really eating that hog snatcher, which we needed to get us a hog. But really what I'm doing is I'm throwing it out, I'm counting it down, and then I'm kind of just working it faster, putting some hops in it, but also just kind of like scooting it along the bottom. And I feel like when I'm in the right strike zone area, I have a much cleaner bottom. when I'm up shallower, you get a lot more grass, but because there's still random grass patches, me popping it, I'm kind of just swimming it over the top of the grass. And it's generating a lot of bites for me right now. That one feels good. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Biggest so far. God, he's got that jig down there. And he's skinny. Everyone is eating it. Nice fish, they just have no length. So everyone, there was another one. There's another one. I was gonna say, everyone wants to know what I'm using. So I've just got 15-pound Berkeley 100% fluorocarbon on custom built MHX NMB 874 rod. So it's a 7.3 medium heavy fast action, which is what you want when you're casting a jig long distance. You need at least a fast action when you set the hook, because you need something to drive that hook point home. If you had a moderate speed, the rod's absorbing too much of your hook set. And then, ooh, there was another one. Oh, dang. We found a little school. You want a fast retrieve reel as well. I've got the Abu Garcia Xenon X 8.1 to 1. That's the first one we've missed. Dang, come on, come back for it. There he is. Oh, dang it, he hit it again. Dang. But you don't need any crazy heavy gear or anything to do it. You need the right stuff, strong enough line to set the hook, and strong enough rod to drive that hook point home. But the Picasso Hog Snatcher has such a sharp hook. Oh, golly. That was a fish. I was gonna say, there's no grass. If I throw it that way, I'm gonna get the like stringy grass. If I fish it like where these fish are coming, it's clean bottoms. So if I feel them, like that, if I feel them, they're knocking the snot out of it right now. Hey, if I feel anything, it's been a fish out here in this hole. And it's almost like right now they're knocking the snot out of it, and I'm not even, there's one. There he is. I'm not even getting them. I mean, this is a blast, guys. Like, anytime you can come figure out a new lake and get on some good fish, good fishing. I'm still a little disappointed with the overall size, but I mean, I'm not complaining at all. I mean, that's been like 5 casts in a row I've been bit making this cast. And there's no rhyme or reason that I know of that's holding them right here, but there's obviously a little school of fish, and you don't need electronics to figure them out all the time. You just need to use your rod and reel and your bait, and you can figure it out. And you can see how good this hog snatcher's been for just breaking down this area. I mean, I've really been able to feel like I've got a good grasp on what I'm fishing right now, because I've been able to utilize the jig to determine what the grass growth is, to determine the depth and where these fish should be holding. And then I've been able to kind of mix up the retrieve a little bit to generate strikes. Some of them have been eating it on the pop, some of them have been hitting it, kind of stroking it high off the bottom. But I know there's more fish there. Well, it's another decent one. They're long. He's got a little belly on him. He's got a little belly on him. Well, guys, I feel like I've got the lake figured out a little bit, and I want to try something else that I think will really work, but I can't show you because it's a core tackle prototype. And I feel like, you know, I've got an area that definitely the fish are holding on to, and this Picasso hog snatcher meaty chunk combo has worked great. And now I just want to try a different presentation. Plus, knowing how flat the lake is, I think I can expand a little bit and just kind of fan cast more of a moving bait. And I got to do a little bit more prototyping on it. So we're going to leave it with that. I appreciate all of you guys watching. Hopefully I gave you a few tips to help you break down some lakes in your area. And I don't know how I feel about the lake. Definitely got some fish in it. It was not what I was expecting. I'm not sold on the skinniness of the fish, but man, they like a jig. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow for you.